Namaste, good afternoon. I'd like to talk about to think or not to think, to be or not to be. That is the question. To think or not to think. During my 33 years of rigorous Zen training, Renzai Zen, Japanese, one of the two Japanese schools that I followed very closely, my objective was to silence the mind. And silence the mind, let's put a caveat, in hopes for clarity, because clarity is always what I felt lacking, always what I wanted from my spiritual practice. I wanted clarity, crystal clear. I wanted to be crystal clear about who, what, why, when, where. All the basic questions of who am I, what am I, why am I, where am I, how am I, or how do I find my. Yeah. So these were the things that I was hoping that my Zen practice would bring me. And I have to say, right now, after many, many, many years of meditating every day, daily, almost daily meditation for 50 plus years, why I was never able to silence my mind. Well, I went into a whole understanding. I had to understand silence wasn't the absence of sound. In fact, silence was accumulation of everything. So it balanced out. So misunderstanding of silence, misunderstanding of clarity, because it wasn't clarity of seeing, like see to the bottom of a crystal well, which would be nice. See the pebbles 30 feet underwater. That'd be nice, but that was what I thought of clarity. See the horizon, see myself. But clarity, as it turned out, was clarity of thought. So this brings us right back to where I was, to think or not to think. I have my 10 Zen things. And the only thing, the 12 Zen things. And what I have to say is, think about what is necessary. There you go. So, even in my Zen caveat, it doesn't tell me not to think about only what's necessary. And what's necessary really is, in one sense, is what's right on your plate right now that you have to do to keep existing, to sustain yourself, to sustain your health, to sustain your practice, to sustain your family, to sustain. This is what's necessary. And all other things are superfluous, meaning that my favorite saying is, they come and they go. If you're thinking about anything that comes and goes, this is the kind of thinking that you want to minimize, or at least don't take so seriously. Don't give it any credence. Witness it. You're never going to shut up the monkey mind. I couldn't. After many years of trying, and there you go. You don't try to do anything. It's not about trying. I tried my best. What a sad refrain that is, for at least me personally. I tried my best. That's an oxymoron if I ever, because best never comes from trying. You're already your best. All of us are already our best. And what we need to become aware of by lifting the veils that I always talk about is that We were always perfect, we are perfect, we always will be perfect. We're the self, with the SELF all capitalized, writ large. Can't be anything else but the self, and this is timeless. This is deathless. This is self. The self of Advaita Vedanta, non-dualism. Dualism is beautiful in that it talks about objects and the subject. The subject can never be reduced. In fact, the subject can't even be talked about, because when you talk about something, it by definition becomes a thing, something. When you talk about something, it's a thing, isn't it? So that's where words fail us, because as soon as we put words around something, it's objectifying, it's making it into an object. An object that can change. We want to experience the unchangeable, the unlimited. Now, as it turns out, the unexpressible. But there is a way around that. No way. I think the most subtle way, or the best, or the only way, is to live it. Is to demonstrate by your every breath. Is to demonstrate by your being that you are fully acceptant, that you had rejected the ego, the maya, the illusion, that which comes and goes. Everything I'm looking at, everything I imagine that it'd be out there, and everything behind me here will come and go. And this is that kind of thoughts. And interestingly enough, when you're in the moment, it's not even called thoughts. Maybe in a way, it's not even thinking, it's just being. So maybe in the moment, you're just being. Because thinking, by definition, we can only think about something in the past, or worry about something in the future. So when you catch, when I first came to Taiwan, my students always told me I thought too much, and I never knew. I was always puzzled. I said, oh, if I'm not thinking, because I was the thinking being, I was an academic, I was a college lecturer, that's my livelihood. So I needed this constant thinking, this constant education, this constant learning, this constant questioning. And at a certain point, which I celebrated maybe more than 10 years ago, is when you run out of questions. No questions left. You've exhausted the questions, because you found out not only the futility of asking questions to a point is useful until it's no longer useful. Isn't that interesting how things are? They're useful until they're no longer useful. And that's when you walk away. That's when you discard them. So my questions just kind of vanished. Because questions have this innate substance of creating more questions. Questions lead to questions, not answers. Questions never lead to answers. Questions only lead to more questions. And especially when you consider that even if you have an answer, how do you know inherent in this answer, this explanation, is either misunderstanding or only providing the grit for more probing, more questioning. Because all of us have found out that we have an answer, but we've grown out of the answer. The answer is no longer useful. And some of us, most of us, replace it with another answer. more questions, more answers, until we exhaust them and find out that not only inherently are they fallacious, will they mislead you, but they're of no substance. They're of what answer is useful? What answer? In fact, I think questions are much more useful than answers, because if you're limited, questions will kind of, okay, I got the answer, that's it. But if you're a questioning mind and you push the boundaries of your questions, and you'll always continually, that's the process, and it's entertaining. And jhana yoga, one of the paths to understanding the true nature of yourself. Thou art that. We are the infinite. We are all. We are God. We are Brahman. We all can only exist in, only have one real state. This is a state of awareness. So, yes, thinking is necessary in the moment when I think thinking becomes being. But dealing with the necessities of sustaining this, even though we understand that it's illusionary, it doesn't dismiss our responsibility for maintaining, caring for those around us, meeting the physical needs of their needs and our body's needs, and people that depend on us, and just to keep our existence so that we can keep on keeping, keep on learning, keep on teaching, keep on helping. So, thinking, stop thinking, impossible, at least for me. It's not necessary to stop thinking. What's necessary is to just be entertained, just witness the thoughts. And the volume will be turned down. So now that my monkey mind's going, but it's of lesser and less, it gets less and less of my attention, because I've dismissed it out of hand and said, okay, that's nonsense. But it doesn't halt it. It still will try. It will still make an attempt to weasel its way in my daily life. So as I continue with my Zen things, as I continue with my daily